Man, I'm pretty excited, man. I'm actually going to be recording this podcast with a video. And I'm going to upload it on YouTube. Let's do it. Yo. Welcome to another episode of Visionary. We out here live and direct. You already know, though. I'm really excited to be back, man. I think the last time that I dropped an episode was in June. Kind of took some time off to regroup. I also focused a lot of my time on real estate, and it's been going really well. I'm really excited to document my journey and bring it to the comfort of your guys' home. So today it's a little bit special. I was supposed to have my guys Eric and Carlos in the podcast with me, but Carlos, he's on vacation, and then Eric, he's a busy entrepreneur, so we couldn't schedule anything with him. But anyways, today I'm going to talk to you guys about alcohol and the negative effects that it has on the body and the mind. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of myself, of how alcohol affected me, how I was able to overcome it. I'm not completely done overcoming alcohol, though. It's an everyday challenge. Honestly, the only thing that I can do is just take it day by day. So without further ado, just kind of want to introduce myself. If you guys don't know, Gil, Real Estate Gil on Instagram, Real Estate Gil on TikTok. I'm a notorious entrepreneur. I recently just quit my 9-to-5 job, and I'm just doing this whole real estate thing full time. So I'm really excited to see what my future brings. I feel like I'm very level-headed now. Now that I let go of alcohol, I recently also stopped smoking marijuana, which is really, really hard for me. And I'm gonna talk about marijuana in another podcast episode. But yeah, so without further ado, today's topic is negative effects of alcohol on the body. First, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the effects of alcohol on the brain. So this information, guys, comes directly from the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. If you guys want the website, it's niaaa.nih.gov. It's strictly from the source, man. So I'm not making this stuff up. So I hope that this information brings value to you. And it's not to bash on anybody that drinks alcohol. I actually admire those that can drink alcohol, that can drink 1 or 2 drinks and stop. For those that know me and know who I used to be, I loved alcohol. I didn't know when to stop. I feel like I naturally have high levels of dopamine and I have low levels of serotonin. So I wouldn't know when to stop, and I just wanted to continue, honestly. And that's a problem. Those that control their alcohol, man, props to you. Keep doing what you're doing. But honestly, I'm not that guy. So this is for those that are feeling like they're in a rock and a hard place, that they feel like they need to make a change in their life. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to change everybody's lives from one moment to the next. However, I do hope that this brings some form of value into you. And if it's not for you, maybe it's for someone you know. Maybe it's for your loved one. Maybe it's for a close friend. Maybe it's for a relative. Who knows? Maybe it's for a coworker, So I hope that this is going to be something very informational, very educational. And it's not to, like I said, it's not to bash on anyone. This is just my personal opinion at some point, my personal experiences, which I'll be touching base on. So yeah. So here are the main takeaways of alcohol on the brain. So alcohol interferes with the communication pathways of the brain, which will affect the way the brain works and looks. And I've seen pictures of, I'm sure you guys have seen where they compare 2 different brains. One brain that hasn't been exposed, I guess, to much trauma, and one that has. And you've probably seen some where they'll have like holes on the brain and stuff. I don't know if this necessarily will pertain to that. But in moving forward, alcohol makes it harder for the brain to control balance, memory, speech, and judgment to their jobs, resulting in higher chances of injuries or other negative outcomes, which I can attest to. Long-term heavy drinking can cause neuron shrinkage, which is really interesting to me. Neurons are right, those pathways, right, that make our brain interact with one another, and that's how we're able to do certain things. The developing brain is extremely vulnerable to the effects of alcohol, right? So as we're young, I started drinking when I was 14, 15, and I remember the first time that I drank, and some of us probably even drank with our folks. Maybe our parents were like, oh, here, take a sip, Johnny. Here, take a sip, Gilly. You know, it's not gonna be a problem. But we then learned to use alcohol to cope with our day to day. We are very emotionally immature at that age, and we use alcohol to deal with, you know, depression, with trauma, with anxiety. And we always, at least for me, I remember I always tried to fit in. I was always the quiet kid when I was 15, man. So the way that I got turned out, guys. I used to go door to door selling a newspaper when I was 15. Before then, I was a very quiet kid, very shy, wasn't outspoken. I probably even got bullied at some point, and some that went to high school and middle school with me know. I mean, I wasn't a little B or anything, but I mean, I did get pushed around. And I remember when I first got this job at Paperboy, I really wanted to fit in. And my other coworkers, we were all the same age, 15, 16, 17. And we all kind of were learning, I guess, as we went. And it was a really exciting time. So anyways, so these are some underage drinking statistics. So in 2019, about 24.6% of youth ages 14 through 15 reported at least having one drink in their life. Also in 2019, 7 million of youth ranging from the ages of 12 to 20 reported drinking alcohol beyond just a few sips in the past month. And this is really, really interesting. So at age 14, white, black, and Hispanic youth are equally likely to drink. And by age 18, white and Hispanic youth are twice as likely to drink than black youth. My dad, he's a recovering alcoholic of 35 plus years. So I never really saw him drink. I never saw him take a sip. I never saw him buy a beer, alcohol. I never saw him do that. So I remember when I would come home drunk, he would always ask me, Mijo, like, how is it possible that you're drinking if you've never seen me drink? With time, I've learned that it's genetic at some point. Not hereditary, I guess, but it is genetic. It comes in the genes. So because of all the years that my dad spent drinking, I guess he probably altered his DNA. And when, you know, I was conceived, it was kind of predestined. Like, I was destined to have addictive tendencies, which is why I've had issues with, you know, weed and alcohol. I've even had issues with women, right? Being addicted to certain things, even though you are noticing the red flags, but sometimes you choose to disregard them and just continue. So for me, man, when I was 15, I was going door to door selling this newspaper, and I was making good money. I was making maybe $500, $600 a week. On the best occasion, I was making maybe $800, almost $1,000 in 1 week. And this is a 15-year-old. Imagine a 15-year-old making that kind of money. I didn't have to pay rent. I had no bills, man. So all that money that I made was spent idiotically. It was spent on more alcohol. And then I started smoking at that age too. My father wasn't really involved because he was out working, and he also had an affair with another lady. For those that know who I am, my mom, she's bipolar schizophrenic, and she has psychosis. So when I was 15, she wasn't emotionally available for me. So what did I do? I turned to the streets. And big shout out, man, to the streets. Honestly, it's what held me down. It's what has made me into who I am now. I don't regret it. I do wish that I probably would have made more sound decisions, but I never regret where I came from or what I've done. But it's a learning experience, and I never try to compare myself to others who are younger than me and are doing it, because we all are working on our own time clock. Nobody is better than anybody. I don't think that I'm better than anybody. I don't think lower of myself. I don't have lower, how do I say it? I don't think less of myself than anybody. I do see everybody as equal. I feel like we all are capable of doing what we want to do, as long as it's positive, right? So why does the youth drink, right? So why did I drink? Peer pressure, right? Oh, you're a little B. Oh, are you a girl? Oh, and I felt, for me, like I really wanted to fit in. And during the time, it was 2006, 2007. So we were heavy on the party scene. If those that know the party scene, 818's finest, all that stuff, the party lines, 494 nerd, all that, it was a crazy time, with those flyer parties and the NOS tanks and all that stuff. It was just really insane. So I felt pressured to fit in and to portray a picture of myself that I myself didn't know I was capable of, right? So I got in trouble. I've done I've had my fair share, and that's going to be for another podcast. So other reasons why the youth drink: so increased independence or the desire to drink, stress. Believe it or not, when you're young, you have stress, you are frustrated. However, you do not know how to express it. So if alcohol or drugs are available, you will definitely use that to cope, which is what I did. Parents play a vital role in shaping the youth's attitude towards drinking. Parents can either have a positive or negative influence, and it all starts in the home. I'm very big on that. It all starts in the home. If you're a POS parent, then your kids are going to be POSs. And maybe I probably was a POS at some point. My parents try to do their best. They try to manage with what they had available, and I don't blame them for anything. I am my own person, and I could have made different decisions, but obviously I chose not to, and that's okay. So what's binge drinking? So the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism defines binge drinking as a pattern of drinking that brings your blood alcohol concentration, or BAC, to 0.08, which is also the legal limit when operating a vehicle. If you're caught drinking and driving and you blow up 0.08, you can still be charged with a DUI, but it can be considered what's called a wet reckless, and has lesser consequences compared to a DUI conviction of over 0.08. Man, DUIs, man, if you don't drink and drive, guys, honestly. And it's harder to do. It's easier said than done. I personally have gotten 3 DUIs. My most recent one being last year. And sometimes, man, we learn the hard way. I'm very hard-headed, and my family can attest to it. It's not hard for me to just grab my keys and get in my car and leave. Is that the most safest decision to make? Probably not, especially if you're drinking. But it's what I've done, but just don't drink and drive. Don't drink and drive, guys. You guys can cause an accident. You guys can easily get a DUI. You don't want to do it. DUIs are very expensive, very time consuming, and you fall into a depression, because, at least for me, I felt like I could have been doing a lot better things with my time instead of doing the diversion programs and going to Mothers Against Drunk Driving. There's just a lot of better things that you can do. Just Uber it, man. Uber it, Lyft. Have someone call you. Call someone to pick you up. Or just don't drink, man. If you know that you can't control your drinking, if you know that you're going to be drinking more than 2 or 3 and you know that you're going to be a problem, then just don't do it. Like, why? Like, there's really no reason for you to be involved in those kind of activities. So binge drinking happens if a woman has 4 or more drinks, or a man has 5 or more drinks within about 2 hours. Research shows that in youth, fewer drinks in the same time frame result in the same BAC. So for girls, it's 3 drinks. For boys, it's 3 to 5 drinks, depending on their age and their size. So alcohol misuse leads to blackouts. I'm sure you guys have experienced that, where you guys drink so much. I know I have, man, where I drank so much and you don't remember what you did. And you're asking like, oh, how was I acting? Oh, I did that? Ha 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 ha. Like, that's not funny. Being able to lose consciousness while you drink, it's not pretty. It's not something that you should be proud of. At least for me, man. That's everything I'm saying is just my own personal opinion. You can take it with a grain of salt. You can do what you wish with what I say. But in my personal opinion, being blacked out is not cute, whether you're a man or a woman. And it takes a lot for you to realize that that's not the way that you should drink, right? Like, even the bottles say, please drink responsibly. Is that really drinking responsibly? I mean, you guys are going to decide on that on your own. So what is a blackout? A blackout is a gap in a person's memory for events that occurred while they were intoxicated. This happens when a person drinks enough alcohol to temporarily block the transfer of memories from short-term to long-term storage, also known as memory consolidation, which takes place in the hippocampus. Really, really interesting stuff. Continuing to drink despite clear signs of significant impairments can also result in alcohol overdose. Wow. Imagine drinking so much that you're going to have to end up at the hospital. Crazy stuff. An overdose occurs when there is so much alcohol in the bloodstream that areas of the brain that control basic life support functions such as breathing, heart rate, and temperature control begin to shut down. Imagine being so drunk that, like, your body, you just can't breathe no more. You can't control your temperature. You can't control your heart rate. Isn't that crazy? So these are some symptoms of overdose. So mental confusion, which we already know, difficulty remaining conscious, vomiting, obviously, and possibly even seizure. That's really crazy. So an overdose can lead to permanent brain damage or even death. And I'm not telling you guys these things so you guys can be like, damn, this guy Gilly, man, he's making me feel guilty that I'm drinking. No, that's not the point. I just felt in my heart, being a recovering alcoholic, because I am a recovering alcoholic, guys. If you guys don't know, every 28th of every month, I complete another month of being sober. So October 28th was my most recent milestone. I completed 10 months, no drink, which is really amazing for me because I've been so used to drinking all the time. And like I said, those that know me know that I love to take a flight. Like, I'm talking about cloud 9, let's go. Yalla. But yeah, man. So drinking a lot over time or too much in one single sitting can damage the heart. How, you ask? And I'm not the best I probably might not be giving the best pronunciation for these words, but cardiomyopathy, the stretching and the drooping of the heart muscle. Okay, that can happen. Arrhythmia, which is the irregular heartbeat, which I've experienced, man. Like, your heart breathing too slow, beating too slow, or beating too fast, man. It's crazy. You can also suffer a stroke, and you can also suffer from high blood pressure. Okay? So drinking can also affect the liver. Ta-da! For those that didn't know, right? So once again, I'm probably not pronouncing this correctly. So steatosis, which is it can lead to having a fatty liver, right? So a liver full of fat. Alcoholic hepatitis. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that drinking so much can lead to a form of hepatitis that's alcoholic. That's crazy. Fibrosis and also cirrhosis, right? Furthermore, drinking can affect the pancreas. What does that mean? So you can be diagnosed with pancreatitis. Pancreatitis, there we go, which is a dangerous inflammation and swelling of the blood vessels in the pancreas that prevents proper digestion. How crazy is that? Imagine being so intoxicated for so long that you can't even poop no more. You can't even process your foods correctly. Last but not least, and I'm not here to scare you guys, man. This is another thing that alcohol can do to you. Long time drinking can even lead to cancer. Watch this. Evidence indicates that more a person drinks regularly over time, the higher risk of him or her developing an alcohol-associated cancer. Even those who have no more than 1 drink per day, and people who binge drink, someone who consumes 4 or more drinks in one sitting, have a modestly increased risk of some cancers. And here are some of those cancers. Head and neck cancer, including the oral cavity, right? So your mouth. The pharynx or the larynx cancers, right? So your throat. Esophageal cancer, specifically esophageal squamous cell carcinoma, which is similar to if you're drinking. I'm sorry, if you're smoking, right? Additionally, those that have inherited an enzyme. So this goes for some of you. If you have inherited an enzyme deficiency to metabolize alcohol, have an increased risk for this cancer, which is the esophageal cancer. So what does that mean? So if you have inherited an enzyme deficiency to metabolize alcohol, you have an increased risk for esophageal cancer. Can also cause liver cancer. Can also cause breast cancer. Women, some of y'all love to drink. Y'all love, mimosas, Mimosa Sunday or Taco Tuesday. Let's go get some margaritas, whatever. I'm talking to y'all right now. Long-time drinking can lead to breast cancer. And it's been proven. Women who consume 1 drink per day are 5 to 9 times at risk of developing breast cancer than women who do not drink at all. Crazy, no? Also can cause colorectal cancer. Also, drinking too much can weaken the immune system. It makes your body a target for disease. Why do you think sometimes when you drink and then you wake up with a hangover the next day, you might wake up with the sniffles or you might wake up with a cough? It decreases the strength that your immune system has. Really crazy. Really crazy. Chronic drinkers are more liable to contract diseases such as pneumonia and tuberculosis than people who do not drink too much. So I'm not telling y'all not to drink. If y'all want to drink, man, y'all are more than welcome to do whatever you guys want to do in your life, man. I'm just bringing this kind of awareness to you, you know. I feel like it's so popular nowadays, like even to business meetings, you know, people need to have a drink, even if it's just one. And that's okay, man. Like I said, if you can control your drinking, then by all means, keep doing what you're doing. You're not going to stop either way, and that's okay. Drinking a lot on one single occasion slows the body's ability to ward off infections, even up to 24 hours after getting drunk. That's happened to me. I've gotten sick after, a good night of drinking. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about my personal thoughts on alcohol. And I've already talked a little bit about it throughout this episode. What about being hungover? You drink so much on one night, You wake up the next morning, you don't want to get up. You sometimes feel depressed. You wasted the whole day trying to recover. You're in a bad mood. You don't want to talk to anybody. And sometimes your body just yearns for something fatty. Like, maybe not when you first wake up, maybe you still feel hungover and you want to throw up, but after that effect wears off, it's like you want to have a big juicy burger or some like greasy tacos. That's not healthy, man. At least in my opinion. Once again, these are just my personal opinions. You guys don't have to listen to me. You guys can end the podcast now. It doesn't matter. But I'm just bringing some form of awareness. You have decreased productivity, which is exactly what I'm talking about. Imagine after going a night of drinking and you know you have to do something the next day, which has happened to me, man. It has happened to me. I've gotten into arguments with the mother of my kids because I've gotten so drunk the night before knowing that I have to go pick up my kids. How irresponsible is that? How irresponsible? Do you think me as a father, I want to be showing my kids that that's the best that I can bring to them? No. I should be ashamed. I should feel guilty, and I should be more cognizant of how I can make myself be better for myself and for my kids, right? I don't want to give my kids a negative connotation of me, like, oh, dad is a freaking drunkard and, he's a pothead. Imagine that kind of lifestyle that you're going to be bringing your kids into, right? So listen, I'm not a doctor, but I'm here to provide value and try to engage you guys on different ways to use your time, different ways to cope with what it is that you're going through. At the end of the day, you will do what you want with the information, but here it is. Now you know. So now you can't say, oh, well, you know what? I didn't know. No one told me. Well, too bad. I just let you know. That's why this podcast is called Visionary, because we have a vision of a different world, right? If I can just reach each and every one of you little by little, we can make a change, guys, honestly. And I'm not here to change anybody's perspective. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm just here to give you a little bit of insight of myself and how I've learned to change. It takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to come out into the playing field, boom, I know how to do this. I know I can, I'm great. I'm a beast. No, it's going to take time. It wasn't until I got in serious legal trouble that I realized maybe the things that I've been doing the last couple years is not the same thing that I should be doing going into 2022, right? And 2022 is almost over, man. Today's November 3rd. We literally have a month and a half left, and 2023 will be here. So what changes are you gonna make? What are you gonna do to make yourself better? Are you gonna be stuck in the same boat for the rest of your life? I know I'm not. So, and the saying goes, you can lead a horse to the water, but you cannot make it drink. I can tell you all these things, but I can't force you to take it. I can't force you to make a change. That change will come to you, and will come at your own time, at its own pace. And that's okay. As long as you're aware, as long as you're cognizant, and you know that you need to make a change, that's the most important thing. I feel like the hardest thing for us sometimes is to admit that we're wrong, to admit that we need help. As men, I remember my dad, he'll be like, los hombres no lloran. Men don't cry. Like, what kind of advice is that, right? Imagine growing up your whole life not being able to cry because your father tells you that if you cry, you're a little bee. How toxic is that? No, we need to be able to come together and realize, like, hey, listen, I need to make a change. This is the time. I now realize that I've been a problem, and the problem is not that person. The problem is not outside. My guy, JJ Towers, big shout out to Jose Juan Torres, man, from Go To Mortgage. You cannot bring an external item to fix something internally. That is going to be in here. I need to be aware of it so I can make a change. I can't bring something outside to change me. Sure, you can take therapy. Sure, you can probably take some medication. But at the end of the day, after all that is said and done, the change is going to come from me. And I need to make that change. And that's where I'm at now. So if you guys have never heard of this, it means that you can give someone an opportunity. If you guys have never heard of the saying, right? If you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. If you've never heard of this saying, it pretty much means that you can give someone an opportunity, but you can't force them to take it. And that's exactly where we're at. I've been given several opportunities to make changes, but I've never taken the initiative to say, okay, this is the time, until now. And it's okay. It's okay. As long as you are aware that you need to make a change, that change will come. So this was a pretty quick podcast, guys. I kind of just wanted to take this time to introduce a little bit of a side hustle that I got going into. So employee retention credit, employee retention tax credit, ERC. For those that don't know, I'm also real estate licensed, but I'm also an expert in ERC. So if you have a business, if you know anybody that has a business with 5 to 500 employees, and they did not take advantage of the PPP loans that they were giving out in the beginning of the pandemic, and the business had to have been established prior to February 2020 or during the pandemic. But if you have anybody that is a business owner, or you yourself are a business owner and are trying to get up to $26,000 for each employee that you retained, for each employee that you kept in your business, meanwhile the pandemic was going on, reach out to me. My email address isghernandez@theinfinitygroup.org. My phone number is 747-755-7138. My Instagram is Real Estate Gil. My TikTok is also Real Estate Gil. If you guys ever need any help, if you guys need ever anything from me, let me know. Also, for all your real estate needs, reach out to me, man. I'll be more than glad to help you guys out. It'll be an honor for me to earn your guys' business. And once again, if you guys liked what you heard, the best way to leave me a compliment is for you guys to rate the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. And even if you didn't like it, let me know. I read the comments. Let me know what you didn't like. Let me know any suggestions. Let me know any concerns you had, any questions, any topics that you guys want me to talk about, or any special guests that you guys want me to bring onto the show. I'll be more than glad to take that into consideration, guys. I feel like feedback is really important, whether it's negative, whether it's positive. I appreciate everything that comes to me because I decide what I want to do with it. And it makes me grow. It helps me grow. It makes me change. And sometimes you need people externally to tell you, hey, you know what, Gil, or anybody, I don't like this about you. And if someone is telling you, hey, I don't like this, then maybe, just maybe, you probably should take that into consideration so that way you can, revamp yourself. So with that being said, guys, I really thank you guys for your time. I hope you found this very valuable. Please share it out to whoever you want to. And I hope to see you guys on the next show.